When you think about woke Hollywood and the things that could impact it, I never thought I would say the coronavirus has the ability to do certain movies in. This headline in front of you, however, it says that it does. China shutters nearly 70,000 movie theaters in response to coronavirus outbreak. Yeah, that's going to impact. It's going to have a huge impact, in fact. Hey there. So today I want to return to that wonderful world of numbers, and I want to demonstrate what I'm talking about here with an example to start off. So this is Terminator Dark Fate. You'll notice 3 columns in this. These are all of the earnings with domestic, international, and worldwide box offices. Now domestically, you're talking about $62 million in change earned. Internationally, $188 million in change earned for $250 million out of a necessary 370. That's right, it dropped 120 million. Now, if you think about the impact that China had on this, we are talking about the number 1 top territory when it comes to international markets, making up a sum total of $50,673,000. Now, if you look at the number of theaters that opened up around this, you have 132,502 theaters open, so 70,000 theaters going offline just like that. I mean, we're talking 53% of all Chinese theaters. Imagine how devastating that could be. I mean, look at a movie like Captain Marvel that had a good domestic box office, but internationally they saw huge numbers come in. I mean, out of those numbers, again, China was the number 1 performer. They had $153,800,000 come in. Imagine losing half of that just because something shut everything down. Yeah, that would be utterly devastating. Now, this impacts on 3 fronts too. We'll call that who, what, and why. On the who, we're talking about the leading cinema chains. So we're not talking about a few places here and there. We're talking about the leaders in China closing down, including Wanda, CGV, Bona, Lumiere Pavilions, and so on. They publicly announced they would be temporarily shutting down because, well, you know what's on everyone's mind. With regard to the what, we're only talking about the biggest Chinese domestic products that are out there. On Thursday, China's leading film studios canceled their plans to release the biggest movies of the year. With no product to offer and public health on the minds of millions, theaters had little choice but to shut up shops. A smattering of screens will still open as of midday Friday, local time, but most, if not all, were expected to close soon. So you have domestic products shutting down. You know that those international products, they're going to be a byproduct as well. Now, as far as the win, this is what's utterly devastating because we're talking about the Lunar New Year holiday kicking off, which is the biggest blockbuster period in the world by far. So on Thursday, as you noted, the Chinese leading film studios canceled their plans to release their biggest movies of the year during the kickoff to the Lunar New Year holiday on Friday and Saturday. Skipping down to the next paragraph, Chinese New Year is the biggest blockbuster period in the world by far, and the coming week had been projected to generate as much as $1 billion in ticket sales revenue. But as the coronavirus outbreak worsened throughout the week, medical experts began warning the public against congregating in crowded places. By Thursday, chances were high that cinemas would go empty, even if studios were a hazard going forward with their original release engagements. There is talk in the industry that the Lunar New Year slate might be rescheduled for later in the holiday, perhaps in 3 to 4 days if public health conditions improve. But with the number of confirmed cases of the virus continuing to surge, optimism remains scarce. If you want to know how utterly devastating this can be financially, I mean, look at these pre-sales numbers. Pre-sales had already reached 67.5 million by Thursday morning, but studios and internet ticketing platforms are now working to issue refunds. It talks about, too, you have Chinese New Year films that are coming out, and this includes Warner Brothers attachments, and like I say, it also includes other movies that would have been slated in there that would have have been international releases or that would have been playing throughout. So yeah, you can imagine that hit. Even the news of this has financial ramifications, as is noted here. As news surrounding the coronavirus has worsened, shares in many of China's leading film companies have plummeted on the local stock market this weekend. Distributors and theaters working with ticket platforms to offer refunds on more than 50 million in tickets that were pre-sold just for Saturday alone. Everything's basically in a holding pattern. Now, when I mention this, you think about the impact that this can have on sales, on that reliance on that market. It tells you what Hollywood has done to itself. They think that they don't need the domestic market. They have all these markets out there. Well, those markets, they can be impacted just like that. It's insane there. All of this is, and that impact, it's sad. It's profound, but it's there and it's real. Woke Hollywood, buckle up. But anyway, tell me what you think about this. Now, ending this, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for your time and your attention. And if you want to sub and all of that, you know the drill by now. I won't take up a lot of your time beyond that, except to say I thank you for being here. I appreciate you. We'll be doing this again soon. Stay safe out there too. There's sickness abounding here and abroad. So yeah, you stay safe and we'll see you soon.